You've probably heard a lot about digital assets, right? But what if we could take real physical things, I'm talking buildings, art, maybe even a stash of gold, and turn them into digital tokens on the blockchain? Well, we can. These are called real-world assets, or RWAs. And the big question is, why should you, as an investor, actually care?
Seriously, what's in it for you? In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why this is so much more than just a tech trend. It's a potential game changer for how ordinary people can build wealth.
Okay, so the first huge benefit, and honestly, this might be the most important one, is an idea called fractional ownership. It sounds fancy, but it's a really simple concept that just flips the old rules of investing on their head.
I mean, think about it. The old way, if you wanted to invest in a beautiful apartment building or a famous piece of art, you needed a ton of cash. It was basically an exclusive club with a really high price tag. But tokenization, it just smashes that barrier down. It lets you get in the game with what you can actually afford.
Let's make this super clear. Picture a $500,000 luxury apartment. You know, prime location, great views, the whole deal. For most of us, that's completely out of reach. But what if you didn't have to buy the whole thing?
What if instead you could buy a 1% share of that exact same apartment for $5,000? All of a sudden, you're an investor in a high-value asset. You're in the game. And you didn't need to be a millionaire to get there. This is how you open up wealth creation to way more people.
All right, so getting in is easier. That's huge. But what about getting out when you need to? This brings us to the second massive advantage, and it's all about something called liquidity.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Selling a whole building or a rare painting is slow. It's a nightmare of paperwork and finding the right buyer, which can take months, sometimes even years. With tokenized assets, though, you can trade your little piece of ownership on a digital market 24/7, pretty much just like you trade a stock. It totally transforms the investment. You're not stuck waiting for one person who can afford the whole $500,000 apartment. Nope, you just need to find someone who wants to buy your 1% stake. It makes everything so much faster and way more flexible.
And that's what we mean by liquidity. It's the freedom to turn your investment back into cash easily whenever you want. Your money isn't locked up for years on end. You're in control. And for any investor, that is a massive, massive advantage.
Okay, so it's easier to get into and it's easier to trade. But is it safe? That's a fair question. And it brings us to our third big benefit, the incredible transparency and security that's baked right into the technology.
See, all of this is built on the blockchain. So every single transaction, who owns what, when they bought it, for how much, it's all recorded on this permanent public digital ledger. Think of it like a global record book that's impossible to erase or tamper with. It means your ownership is crystal clear and super secure.
Now, a lot of the magic happens with something called a smart contract. The easiest way to think about it is like a super smart vending machine. You put the right input in this case, rent money, and it automatically spits out the right output. So for our apartment, when the rent gets paid, the smart contract sees it, verifies it, and boom, it automatically sends the profits to every single token holder, right to their digital wallets. No middlemen, no delays, everyone just gets their fair share.
So we've talked about the how. Now let's zoom out and talk about the where and the when. Because this isn't some small niche experiment. We're talking about a global opportunity that is growing at a crazy speed. This whole system just tears down borders. You don't need a special bank account in another country or some fancy broker. All you need is an internet connection and a digital wallet. That's it. This means you could literally co-own an asset with people from dozens of different countries. I mean, how cool is that? That was basically impossible just a few years ago. And because it is so open and accessible to everyone, the market itself is just exploding. The growth rate we're seeing here is, well, it's pretty staggering.
Just take a look at these numbers. The market is projected to jump from nearly $16 billion this year to over $25 billion next year. That's not just growth, that's a massive leap. And what it tells us is that we are still in the very, very early days of a huge shift in finance.
And you know what that means. In a market that's moving this fast, getting in early can be a really big deal. You've got pioneers in the space, like Ondo Finance and Centrifuge, who are already building out the roads for this new economy. And that's creating brand new opportunities as we speak.
So when you put it all together, it's more accessible, it's more flexible, it's more secure, and it's global. It's really no surprise why so many people are calling this the future of investing. This really is a fundamental change, a change in who can invest, what they can invest in, and how it all works. So the only question that's really left is, are you ready to be a part of it?
And we're just getting started. In our next explainer, we're going to get really practical. We'll dive into the specific platforms and tools out there, and we'll walk through exactly how you can get started. So if you're ready to explore this, make sure you stick around.
Click on the subscribe button so you don't miss tomorrow's breakdown on the top platforms powering tokenized investing only on Web3 Newswire.